So with all the breaking news about the Vancouver Canucks and how Casey DeSmith is injured, we completely glossed over the Detroit Red Wings news from today. But before we go over that, let's go over the Red Wings news of yesterday, because we did have ourselves Lucas Raymond, who had confirmed that he is joining Team Sweden for the IIHF World Hockey Championship. The tournament looks like it's going to feature tons of top-end talent, with best-on-best hockey now back on the horizon. And there was a conversation that we had yesterday about insurance, and Andy goes out there and asks, like, oh, does this signify anything with contract progress? Didn't one or both of Raymond and Sider say they would only go to the World Championships depending on if they had a contract or insurance? And that's exactly what is talked about over here. But because Lucas Raymond is committing to Team Sweden, it appears that insurance has indeed been granted. So everybody's qualms about whether or not these players would be insured, it seems like at the very least one will probably get an announcement on Moritz Seider soon, because he'll probably have similar things attached to him. But when it comes to the Red Wings news from today, because the Raymond stuff was from yesterday, take a look at this tweet made by the Wings on their Twitter account. Detroit has signed defenseman Andrew Gibson to a 3-year entry-level contract beginning with the 24-25 season. For now, though, he will report to the AHL's Grand Rapids Griffins on an amateur tryout for the remainder of the 23-24 season. So, Andrew Gibson is gonna be on contract. He has himself 2 deals, an ATO to end off 23-24 with the Griffins, and a regular ELC to start out 24-25 with the Detroit Red Wings. Now, he probably will play with the regular Detroit Red Wings next season in 24-25, so giving him a slight preview of what this system could provide, what the team is like, and how the environment works over there in Grand Rapids. It's going to be great to see. Let's go out there and look at the scouting report here, because Andrew Gibson is an interesting prospect that I think y'all should be a little bit more familiar with. He's 19 years old, playing out of the Sioux Greyhounds in the OHL, 6'3", 203, right-handed defenseman. So there you go. Fairly big, solid guy as a right blue liner. Drafted in the second round, 42nd overall by the Wings in the most previous NHL draft in 2023. Now, because of his entire profile, he is primarily noted as an offensive defenseman, 44 points, 68 games played, and a guy who can provide a few other things too. He delays, he manipulates opponents with deception, even on pass receptions. He uses the inside and looks for activation opportunities after passing. He subtly plays whatever that is, like a quick pump fake on reception and angling his body away from his target to drive his value. So he is a very unique kind of defenseman in the way that he's able to manipulate his opposition. Also, by the way, big happy birthday to our boy Nick Lidstrom, the perfect human being, everybody. I just saw that at Elite Prospects. I had to go out there and toss it out there. Happy birthday, Nick Lidstrom. But you could see that for Andrew Gibson, he did have himself a pretty good amount of progression with his profile. It was just 2 seasons ago that he was playing in the NOJHL. He wasn't drafted, he wasn't in the major junior scene. He then played 6 games with the regular Sioux Greyhounds to end off that season, got 0 points. So the fact that Andrew Gibson went from the NOJHL all the way to a pretty good season and an NHL ELC in the span of 2-3 years, that's pretty incredible, not gonna lie. Just the growth here for a guy that didn't really look like he played any hockey games in 2020, 2021, all the way to now where he has signed his ELC with Detroit for 24-25 and an ATO with the Griffins for 23-24. This is the kind of thing that intrigues me, because if this is the growth here for a guy who went from 17, 18 to 19 years old, then imagine what this guy's going to be capable of by the time he's 23, 24. I'm not saying he's a guaranteed NHLer, I'm just saying the progression is good here. And if you want to go over to Dobber Prospects, they did have themselves the scouting report here. They say that Gibson is a stay-at-home defenseman with size and strength, but little to offer points-wise. He can have value in multi-league categories. Now, of course, this analysis is done from the perspective of fantasy, which is why they talk about, multi-category stuff, value, etc., etc. He's a high-value male, ladies and gentlemen. But this fantasy summary was definitely written before Andrew Gibson had this previous year. 44 points, 68 games played. He really started to show off more of that offense. Take a look at the Evan Sabarin report from July 2023. The Detroit Red Wings selected Gibson with the 42nd overall pick from the Sioux Greyhounds of the OHL. Injuries limited Gibson to just 45 games this past season. His offensive production did not stand out with 7 goals and 21 points, but that is not the strength of his game. Gibson is a big body who plays a mean, physical style. He skates well for someone his size, but Gibson projects to be a bottom-pairing defender with a nasty, mean streak. So already, as far back as a year ago in the draft, people were saying this guy could become an NHL player, albeit in a bottom-pairing role. And while there's nothing wrong with going out there and getting bottom-pairing guys, it's easier to go out there and sign them rather than draft them and develop them in your own system. But for Andrew Gibson, the fact that he was able to indeed get more offense and bolster up that part of his game, that intrigues me, especially when you consider his progression from 2 years ago up until now. If he's always been a stay-at-home, shutdown defender who's physical and plays big, then okay, that's fine. But adding on offense on top of that makes things very interesting, and I think this article on the Hockey Writers goes out there and labels that out pretty well. This was written before the 2023 draft took place, so this scouting report is from before the Wings even drafted him. Smooth skating defenseman, large 6'3", 198-pound frame, rookie two-way defender, still a raw prospect. He made a positive impact on the Sioux Greyhounds. The right-shot defenseman is in his element in the offensive zone. He has good vision, which allows him to identify passing lanes in all 3 zones. He keeps his game simple, ensuring pucks are pinned into the zone, and instead of trying to blast pucks from the point, uses a quick release and highly accurate wrist shot into traffic in front of the net to ensure that there will be a tip-in or a rebound. His 7 goals and 21 points in 45 games ranks second amongst defensemen on the Greyhounds. Had he not missed time due to injury, he might have maintained his role in the top wave of the power play and added to that total. So, even some reports from last year are saying that he still had some offensive potential, even though the Dobber report is saying that he's mostly a shutdown, defensively minded guy. So what I'm hearing from all of this, especially when you look at some of the tape here, is that Andrew Gibson is versatile, he has multiple skills, and it's so apparent that you could actually label him in multiple different ways. You could say, oh, he is a shutdown guy. Oh, he is an offensively capable guy. Oh, he's a two-way guy. He can do everything, pretty much. So for the Sioux Greyhounds in the OHL, Gibson was indeed still one of the top blue liners in points. He was the 3rd guy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what it was, 3rd, behind Kirill Kudryavtsev, who is a Canucks prospect, and Arttu Karki, who is a Vegas prospect. So lots of production here for the Greyhounds all around the 23-24 season. But of course, we're now going to see Gibson do the thing with Grand Rapids. So keep your eyes out for the Griffins and their entire run here, because they've got a new guy in town, Andrew Gibson, 2nd-round pick from the 2023 NHL entry draft, and his ELC with the Detroit Red Wings begins next season in 24-25. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Detroit Red Wings making this signing. What are your thoughts on the way Gibson has progressed in his career? And big shout out over to you if you're a Sioux Greyhounds fan. What can you tell us about Andrew Gibson and his overall profile? What are your thoughts on the way that he is served for you? He is no longer coming back. He'll be a part of the Griffins and the Red Wings next season and beyond. He was just a rookie last year, so how has he fared in his development since then? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Detroit Red Wings making this signing. Andrew Gibson is now a part of the system. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.